All right, everyone. So I thought it's the first of a new month. Let's do a little reading here, a little forecast for what at least the first half of September has for us. I wanted to talk a little bit about the astrology because, nothing looks good until after the election. And not even then. I haven't even looked that far ahead. So big deal. We still have Saturn in retrograde. Saturn is basically teaching us a lesson. Okay. So we still have that idea that these cosmic lessons, these karmic lessons, we're still being forced to rethink. Hooray, we have in this month, we have Uranus also going retrograde for the rest of the year, basically, I believe. Uranus is a planet of non-conventional ways of doing things, perhaps rebellion. One thing I was thinking was you might consider, I'm sorry for playing with his antennas. You might consider things that you have done, ways that you have rebelled against the system, and how they have worked out for you. And I say that without judgment. There are times when you need to rebel against a system. So you might look back. This is also a time where you might have a sort of FOMO, if you know what I mean, where you look back and say, oh, if only I had gone the other way. If only I had majored in this instead of this. If only I had taken the job over here instead of that. This is the time for you to be doing that work. Uranus and Saturn in retrograde is time for shadow work, people. It is time. This is just collectively, we all need to start looking into our shadows. We all need to look into the dark sides. And both of these planets suggest one way to do. Uranus suggests, let's look at the ways that we rebel, that we non-conform, and think about how they have impacted us. We also have Pluto going into Capricorn, which is the planet, which is the sign of hard work and ambition. I think it's kind of funny because a lot of us are going back to school. I teach college as part of my life. We started our semester last week. And so we're thinking about the new start to the new school year. And I'm going to suggest with this Virgo new moon tomorrow, we really want to start thinking about setting up routines for our work-life balance, whether you're a student, whether you're a teacher, whether you're a parent whose child is going back to school, whatever, however that applies to you. This new moon in Virgo is suggesting that we really think about creating routines that work for us. Oh my God, the first week was so much last week because I did all this extra work because I wanted to get it out of the way in the beginning of the semester. And I came home on Thursday and I was heating up my dinner and I fell asleep while my dinner was heating up. That's how wiped out I was. So clearly that routine is not working for me. So I have to find a better routine. So think about how you can find routines that work for you. And if you live in a household, routines that work well for everyone. You want to make everybody, because we want people to get along, right? We're still kind of in Libra season here. We want people to get along. On the 4th, we have Mars going into Cancer. Cancer is the sign of the home and the house. Mars is not about fighting. This is not expect fights in the home. This is really about determination, gonna get it done. Mars is that determination planet. So this might be a time to consider, getting your to-do list, your honey-do list, knocking that out. It might also be a good time to start planning for your fall decorations, right? Your Halloween decoration plans. I already have, where'd I put it here? I already have my deck for October. Obviously, anybody who knows me would see that one coming. But think about those plans. You're going to get that energy to work on those plans. On the 8th, we have Mercury going into Virgo. So we have a chance to start or check in on it's like a progress report. And this isn't one you get from school. This is one you give to yourself. How are things working out with our new project? We want to start. Tomorrow's a new moon. Seems like a great time to start a new project as well. We do have on the 17th an eclipse in Pisces. So the moon, which is about emotions, is going to be in Pisces, which is about emotions. It's going to be really emotional is what I'm trying to tell you. So maybe take fewer chances with that Uranus in retrograde. Maybe take fewer chances than normal. This does not mean your boyfriend's going to break up with you or anything's going to happen. Think about these astro forecasts like weather forecasts. If we say, hey, it looks like it's going to rain, you're going to tuck that umbrella in your bag. So we're saying, hey, there's going to be a high chance of rain on the 17th, on and around the 17th of that eclipse season. make sure you pack your umbrella, right? It's not going to say anything terrible is going to happen, but just be like, be prepared to emotionally be maybe a little bit more vulnerable, a little bit more weepy. Expect that in the people you work with. Be a little bit more compassionate and understanding. And of course, we have the equinox coming up on the 22nd, which is when day and night are the exact same length. This is, again, you notice the theme of this month is like, how do we find balance, work-life balance, ways to find ways that are working for you. So we're really going to be hitting up that equinox theme of balance. And I'll probably do a reading a little bit later on to help you with that. But I wanted to give you a little astro weather about what's going on. The 3rd and 4th could be a little dicey as well. Expect, because of this Uranus retrograde, expect things to be a little spicy in the news. That I do expect happening. So I wanted to use, so this time we're using the Paulina Tarot. I love Paulina Cassidy. I have like 4 of her decks. And this is one of hers. And I was feeling kind of cozy vibes. So I thought it would be a good time to do a little reading for you guys for the collective. Because we got a new moon coming up. So we want to think about what kind of stuff, what kind of new enterprise we might be considering, what our big project that we are called to do is. And my radio is going off. Hold on one second. I'm just going to go deal with that. All right, I'm back. Sorry. All right, so where was I? All right, so we're going to do that reading for the collective. Let's do this. I'm going to do a reading style, that I call the flying V. So we're going to make a V. We're going to make a V, and I'm going to try to set these, close together. Ooh, okay. So that they all fit on the image. If not, I will overlap them. I'm trying to make sure I got what's going on here. All right, and let me tweak Mr. Camera. Okay, I think we got most of it in here, so we'll make it work, right? All right, so let's see what we got first before we do any reading. Before we look at any cards in particular, we have 3 major arcana cards: the Empress, Strength, and the Hierophant. So that tells us this is kind of a big deal. When you have out of 7 cards, when 3 of them are major arcana, that means this is kind of a big deal. This is something that is a real opportunity. This is something that is a cosmic opportunity for you to work on. We have 1 court card and 1 reversed card. It's the same card. It's the King of Cups. So we have 1 significant influence that is calling for our attention. We have no swords. So for people who don't like problems, you're good. No cups. So despite all the Pisces stuff, I don't see a lot of, emotional stuff happening here. Oh, we do have a cup. I'm sorry. I can read my own cards. We only have 1 cup, but man, that is a good cup to have. That is a 2 of cups over there. That's a nice one to have. We have 2 twos, which means 2s are about balance. So we have a nice balance theme in our reading. That word again, oh my gosh. And then we have a wands. So we have cups and wands. We don't have pentacles, and we don't have swords. So think about what's there and also what's not there. All right, so let's get into what this actual reading is. Basically, these 3 cards are about the past, and these 3 cards are about the future and future influences. And card number 4, the bottom of your flying V, is going to be the core issue of the reading. So for in this case, we're doing a reading about what is going to be our significant project, soul project, spiritual project for the month. And we see the Strength card. I don't know how well these cards, because I love Paulina, but I don't know how well these show up on camera. So we have this, traditionally we have, the traditional image of the woman and the lion. In this case, it's a griffin. I always think about the Strength card as when you try to give your cat a pill. You, believe it or not, can overpower your cat and do it, but will your cat appreciate that? You know what I mean? Do you want your animal to be stressed out when you do that? When I got Prince, he had a lot of GI issues, and I was having to give him pills. I just adopted him, and every day I was having to jam a pill down his neck. And I'm like, this guy is going to hate me because he's going to associate me, his new owner, with a person who's constantly grabbing him and shoving pills down his neck. Why am I bringing that up? Because that's the energy I see in this card, that we can push something through by brute force. We can do it. I can grab that cat and shove the pill down his neck without hurting him. Is that the right way to go? So I think we're being challenged on how to use strength, because she's not jamming that. And she's also not afraid. She's putting her hands in that lion's mouth. You know the old quote, and for some reason I saw it yesterday as well. That quote about, courage is not the absence of fear, it is feeling fear and doing it anyway. So that might be something that is resonating for you when you look at this card. But this is going to be our collective challenge for this new moon to full moon, at least, phase of the month. All right, so let's get into it. Our past influences. We have the Empress, the King of Cups reversed, and the Two of Wands. The Empress is, of course, that maternal influence, creativity. I love this card. It's so beautiful. Again, I'm trying to bring it closer so you can see how beautiful Paulina's art is. It's just all these flowers, and she's hugging their animals, and it's just a beautiful card, right? We've got our little animals in the background. This is a card in all this abundance. This is a card of abundance, creativity, and this might be an idea you had a long time ago. Right? This could be something that, because this is the distant past, this is something that a project that maybe you had put aside or a challenge you had put aside that maybe it's time to pick up again. Our King of Cups reversed, I'm going to unreverse it for us to look at it first. The King of Cups, he's coming in on this dark swan-like creature. This is like the least friendly King of Cups I've ever seen. And being reversed also kind of gives me that. Like, why is he so dark, right? Why is he so dark? And why is the swan so smoke colored? So I'm looking at this card, especially knowing it's reversed. The King of Cups can be, of course, a well-reasoned leader. It can be somebody who knows how to use emotion well, which would hit well with strength. But put in the past and as sort of an influence here and reversed, we might be overcoming some previous bad patterning where someone had emotionally manipulated us, had gaslit us, somebody who told us something for our own good, pretending to care. This guy would not be pretending to care. Reversed, it might be somebody who was pretending to care, riding in on his swan to the rescue. The Two of Wands is a brand new idea. The Two of Wands is a new project. So we have this old thing in our new project that we're starting. So we're asked to bring that old energy into something new that we're working on. In this case, we have these birds who are holding and they're not letting him go back. You see the X behind him? They are like not letting him go back. He is willing to move. He's not trying to go back. He's fine with that. He is willing to move forward. So he, as the recent past, is being told, don't get stuck in the past. Don't get in the FOMO that because it couldn't be what it was when you initially thought about it, that it's over. Take the energy from that idea, take the seed from that idea, and move forward with what you got in this strength project, in this idea to bring compassion and fearlessness and trust into what we're doing. This is really interesting because you see the Hierophant is making that X gesture, which we see echoed here. In this case, the Hierophant in this deck really, really looks like conformity. Really look, because you see all these little critters underneath who are looking to the Hierophant, who represents sort of tradition, conservatism for the way forward. They're all sort of worshiping him. And he's allowing himself to be set up as a spiritual figure. He's allowing himself to be like a guru. Right? So, and he's saying no. He's saying no. So here we have these creatures saying yes. Here we have no. This is a surrounding. This is an influence around you. Someone is telling you no. Someone is telling you it can't be the way you want it to be. You have to do it my way. Maybe don't listen to that person. Really think about what you get out of listening to that person. And I'm also seeing the King of Cups and the Hierophant as somebody who is coming in and telling you, sort of negging your idea, telling you for your own good, but also that's not the way we do it. That's not the way we do it here. Maybe it's okay, again, Uranus being the planet of rebellion, non-conformity, maybe it's okay to tell this guy to shove it up his own tree. The Nine of Wands is our hopes and fears. And this is it's always a pretty intense card, but especially in a beautiful, cozy deck like this is a really, like, just like that King of Cups, this is a pretty intense card. In this case, I don't know what that is. That is stuck on those wands. I don't want to know. That looks icky. We have somebody who has been fighting the fight. And you see those eyes, You see the eyes. This is someone who is like in limbic shutdown. This is someone who is in the fear, when you are just so hypervigilant, hyperreactive. So this could be an influence that is a hope or your fears. This looks like possibly a little post-traumatic stress disorder or post-traumatic stress where something triggers you and you go into that fight or flight syndrome. This card is saying this is something that is with our strength challenge. This is what it is. Our hopes and fears. We fear having to go into that limbic hypervigilance. Okay. And then so we think, well, what's the outcome? And you're like, well, that sounds dark. Our outcome is fantastic. Our outcome is the Two of Cups. We have this couple that is, in the same flower. Even their pets are getting along. Like everything is good. And again, this is our second two. Two twos means balance, means accord. So this new project is blooming. So what can we do with this whole reading? Our main issue that we have to deal with is the use of strength. How much strength could we use? How do we temper that with compassion? How do we take an old idea that really, and let go of the emotional attachment we had to it to make it something new, to move forward without getting stuck in the past? And how do we take a look at how do we deal with these influences of somebody saying that's not the way we do it? Do we go around them? Do we say, okay, I'll just do it your way? How would this woman with this griffin who has this little heart on his hip? So this is definitely a compassion card. How could I approach this with compassion? How could I approach this ego with compassion? How do I not let myself get in that sort of limbic fear? How can I defeat what is bothering me, or even not defeat what is bothering me? Because this is a fight that's already over. This is not a fight that's going on right now. This is not, the Seven of Wands. This is not one of those. This is you're letting your past scare the crap out of you. How do I not let the past scare the crap out of me? Right? And you might have some connection between the Hierophant, where society, conformity, conservatism is telling you to do it one way, and you are having some damage from that. But the Strength, going to the Two of Cups, is telling us compassion is the way. Even compassion for your enemies. I was at a seminar yesterday, and they were saying, you don't want to deal. If you see somebody who talks to people like that, you see somebody who treats patients like this, they don't belong in this field. They need to get out. They are terrible people. And I was like, it took me until the end of the day to have the courage to speak. And I said, maybe those people who are acting out because they are traumatized, right? Nobody acts out. Nobody is delighted, or very few people, I've decided, very few people are delighted to be mean to other people. Most of us, when we are mean to other people, it's because we are reactive, because we are triggered, because we are activated. Our own trauma has not been dealt with. So maybe that's something to think about through this as well, that when you look at somebody, understand they're speaking through their own trauma, and we have the choice to engage with that compassionately and not let it stop us and not let it ruin them. So that's our collective reading for the month, the first 2 weeks until about, the equinox, until the astro weather gets spicy again, I guess. But I wanted you guys to have this reading sort of in your toolkit as you approach the new moon tomorrow. Maybe some of this will help. Let me know in the comments.